What's up, YouTube? Sorry about that, guys. Apparently my throat did not want to clear up. Let's try that again, shall we? What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. And for today's video, I got something very interesting to talk to you guys about, because I'm going to be answering the question of why. Why is WarGames invading Survivor Series? That's the question that we're going to find out right now. And what matches are we going to see in this match? In these WarGames matches at Survivor Series. So it was reported earlier this week by The Ringer, big shout out, no copyrights. Excuse me. That the match known as WarGames will be making its return to WWE as part of the main roster on November 26th at Survivor Series. Now, of course, too, as we all know, as we know, over the last few years, WarGames has been a part of NXT. Superstars like Adam Cole, baby, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Pat McAfee, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Dakota Kai, all these guys, the Authors of Pain, Roderick Strong, Butch, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Max Dupree, Braun Breaker, Grayson Waller, Tony D'Angelo, Carmelo Hayes. They have all competed in WarGames, and they know the dangers. So now the main roster is going to experience it, and I am actually excited for it. Pretty honestly. Triple H had told The Ringer, saying quote, "We'll have a men's WarGames match and a women's WarGames match. The tradition of Survivor Series has ebbed and flowed and changed slightly over time. But this will be similar to that. This will not be Raw vs. SmackDown. It will be much more storyline driven. I still look at it as a traditional component to Survivor Series in there, because it's large teams of people competing. We just upped the ante a little bit with WarGames and made it evolve." So you guys know that that the match that was known as WarGames had came back to wrestling back in 2017 at NXT TakeOver WarGames. I believe it was supposed to have been known as NXT TakeOver Dallas, if I remember right. Something like that. Hang on. I gotta take a look. Let's see. TakeOver 2017. Oh, that's right. It was supposed to have been originally known as NXT TakeOver Houston, but unfortunately that did not come to pass. They ended up changing it to NXT TakeOver WarGames, which had a had a hell of a card, mind you. In fact, the card, if I can go to it, featured a very stacked card, actually. So the card featured Lars Sullivan and Cassius Ohno, Aleister Black and the Velveteen Dream, Ember Moon, Kairi Sane, Nikki Cross, and Peyton Royce in a fatal four-way for the vacant NXT Women's title. Andrade versus Drew McIntyre for the NXT title. And then, of course, the WarGames match, which was the Undisputed Era, the Authors of Pain, and Sanity. And if you guys do not know who these teams were, Sanity featured Alexander Wolf, Eric Young, and Killian Dane, as well as Nikki Cross. The Authors of Pain featured Akam and Razar, with the addition of Roderick Strong getting involved in the mix. And then the Undisputed Era featured Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Adam Cole, which just that trio was absolutely insane. There were a couple of matches on the card that were taped for a future episode of NXT, which was Ruby Riott versus Sonya Deville. Even though they both jumped ship over to the main roster, excuse me, they still had some unfinished business on NXT. And then, of course, too, we have Butch against Johnny Gargano for the NXT United Kingdom title, it was a hell of a card. And then, of course, too, we know that the last WarGames event we had was NXT WarGames last November, which saw Braun Breaker, Grayson Waller, Tony D'Angelo, and Carmelo Hayes defeating Johnny Gargano, Max Dupree, or LA Knight, of course, Butch, and Tommaso Ciampa, which was a hell of a matchup. But the problem was the fact that Vince was taking over, was still the head of creative, and he wanted 2.0 to defeat Black and Gold. Had Triple H have taken over NXT 2.0, I've got no doubt in my mind that Black and Gold would have won. Black and Gold would have won easily, in my personal opinion. But obviously too, this major change for Survivor Series was obviously because of Triple H taking over creative. And now he's the chief content officer of WWE, which means he basically oversees everything that's on Raw, NXT, and SmackDown, which is awesome. So my thoughts on this, it's a bit of a stretch. It's a bit of a I guess in a way you could say that's sort of a letdown, honestly, in my personal opinion, because normally we wouldn't know of WarGames until it was like time, until it was like time to reveal what who what was going on and everything. It was basically like that in NXT over the last few years, because if you guys don't know, this was the first WarGames match. It was again, as I mentioned, Sanity, AOP, and of course the Undisputed Era, and and that took place in that took place in Houston. I think 2018's WarGames event took place in Philly. No, it actually took place here in LA. I did not realize it. I don't know what the hell I was thinking, and yeah, I got a little salty about that one, but it's all good. But the card, but as far as the WarGames match for this one, it was obviously Pete Dunne, Ricochet, and the Viking Raiders taking on the Undisputed Era, which obviously Team Dunne ended up taking that one, which was probably the longest WarGames match I had ever seen ever, which lasted 47 minutes, which is insane. And I think 2019's match was probably by far one of the most insanity, no pun intended, cards we had ever seen, because we had the women's WarGames match, which was Team Ripley against Team Baszler. Team Ripley consisted of Rhea Ripley, Candice LeRae, Tegan Knox, and originally it was supposed to have been Mia Yim, but because of the fact that it was Dakota Kai who attacked Mia Yim, she got involved, but she took out Tegan Knox, and it basically just came down to both Rhea and Candice against all of Team Baszler, which was Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, Io Sky, and Kaylee Ray, the NXT UK Women's Champion at the time. Which you would think with two women on one team, you would think the odds would have been against them, and they would have lost. Nope. They ended up winning that one, which was insane. Excuse me. Which was insane. And then of course too, as far as the rest of the card, there were five matches on the card. One of them was on the pre-show. The other four were on the main card. So we had Pete Dunne, Killian Dane, and Damian Priest, where the winner would face Adam Cole for the NXT title at Survivor Series the following night. Dunne ended up taking that one. Finn Balor defeated Matt Riddle in a hellacious matchup, and then we had the men's WarGames match, which was Team Ciampa and the Undisputed Era. The UE consisted of Adam Cole, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly, and Roderick Strong. Yeah. Team Ciampa consisted of Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, Dominic Dijakovic, or I guess T-Bar. Originally, it was supposed to have been Matt Riddle in the mix, but because that Finn Balor had was on Riddle's mind, Ciampa called in Kevin Owens. Funny enough, yeah, the UE was not happy about that one. They weren't happy. And then of course too, the 2020 WarGames event took place at the Capitol Wrestling Center, which was basically the Performance Center, which was said to have been not the worst WarGames match, not the worst WarGames show in history, but I would consider it to be one of the most unique. Which was again, it was kind of unique because the dark match was a 6-man tag, which was basically all the members of Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, Cruz del Toro, or Raul Mendoza, and of course Joaquin Wilde, taking on August Gray, Kurt Stallion, and Ashanti the Adonis. All two of which are Gray and Stallion, actually got released from WWE, unfortunately. Adonis is now part of SmackDown with Hit Row. The women's WarGames match featured Candice LeRae, Dakota Kai, Raquel Rodriguez, and Toni Storm taking on Shotzi, Ember Moon, Rhea Ripley, and Io Sky. And here's what I find so interesting. What I find interesting was the fact that Candice LeRae and Dakota Kai were part of Rhea's team. Io Sky was a part of was a part of Shayna's team. Now the tides had turned, and even with the team that Shotzi chose, which was Ember, Rhea, and Io, Team LeRae picked Team Candice picked up the victory. We had Tommaso Ciampa versus Timothy Thatcher, which was a hell of a matchup. Dexter Lumis against Cameron Grimes, which was actually kind of a hilarious one. Johnny Gargano, Leon Ruff, and Damian Priest for the North American title, which, Johnny Gargano kind of cheated. And then we had the Undisputed Era against Team McAfee, which the UE, obviously, again, Cole, Fish, O'Reilly, and Strong. McAfee's team consisted of, obviously, Pat McAfee, Butch, Danny Burch, and Oney Lorcan, in which rumor has it that supposedly Oney Lorcan is interested in coming back to WWE, which I will talk about that, I believe, in tomorrow's video. It might be in tomorrow's video. It might be in a different video, but you guys will know about it when I talk about it. But that was 2020. Now, last year's WarGames event, I would consider this to have been the worst of them all because of the fact that there was literally, this was one of the, guys, I'm telling you, this was one of the worst cards ever because the dark match was Odyssey Jones against Andre Chase. And then of course too, the women's WarGames match was Team Jade versus Team Toxic Attraction, which was Cora Jade, Io Sky, Kaylee Ray, and Raquel Rodriguez against Dakota Kai and all the members of Toxic Attraction, which were Mandy Rose, Gigi Dolan, and JC Jane, which was an awesome match, but it was a bit of a letdown in my personal opinion. Then, of course, we had Imperium versus Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner for the tag team titles, which Von Wagner, that was when I believe he turned heel on Kyle at WarGames, which was basically the end of Kyle's career in WWE, unfortunately. Then, of course, we had Cameron Grimes versus Duke Hudson, which was hair versus hair. Roderick Strong taking on Joe Gacy for the Cruiserweight title, which was a bit of a letdown. And then Team 2.0 against Team Black and Gold. 2.0 consisted of Braun Breaker, Grayson Waller, Tony D'Angelo, and Carmelo Hayes. And, of course, Black and Gold, as I have mentioned, LA Knight, Johnny Gargano, Butch, and Tommaso Ciampa. With Dexter Lumis, mind you. With Dexter Lumis in the mix, mind you. Which was hilarious. Again, I would consider this to have been the worst of them all. I don't know if we're going to get another WarGames event with the match in Invading Survivor Series. I'm not so sure, but as far as what match I want to see, hands down, I want to see Damage Control against Alexa Bliss, Asuka, and Bianca Belair. And the reason being is because Dakota and Io know of WarGames. They've been in WarGames before, so they can show Bayley how WarGames, how to operate inside of WarGames, even though she had competed in 2-3 Hell in a Cell matches. It makes sense. It would make sense. The same thing goes for Bianca Belair. She's been in WarGames before, so she can show both Bliss and Asuka again the exact same thing, how to operate in WarGames. Another match that I wouldn't mind seeing, and it might be a bit of a stretch, but I wouldn't mind seeing the Bloodline taking on Drew McIntyre, the Street Profits, Kevin Owens, and I don't know. I don't know. I guess maybe Karrion Kross? Maybe? I don't know. I never really thought about it, honestly. But I wouldn't mind it if all the titles were on the line. The Undisputed title and the Undisputed Tag Team titles. I wouldn't mind it. I honestly wouldn't mind it, but I don't know. I'm kind of a mixed reaction with this whole thing. Because it's like, on one hand, it's a good thing because we could potentially have, the men's and women's 5-on-5 matches be inside of WarGames. But because of the fact that Triple H said that it was only going to be on the card for more storyline purposes. I don't know. I feel like WarGames should have just stayed in NXT because that's where usually the rivalries just explode the most, in my personal opinion. But it is what it is. I am still excited to see what matches will be on the card. Who knows? Who the hell knows? But that brings me to the question of the day. What match? What? You know what? No. You know what? Let me rephrase my question. Who do you want to see compete inside of WarGames at Survivor Series? Let me know down in the comments below. And that will do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more episodes of not more episodes. No. Today's Wednesday. And you guys want to see more videos like this in the future, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way. And as always, be sure to follow me on my social media. Links will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.